On the Fringe with Dan radio style. Hope everybody out there's having themselves a great day. The man did finally pass away. He was 100. I feel like he was 1,000. Needless to say, it's interesting. He's no longer the worst president. Some might argue that he wasn't the worst. He was second to worst before Biden came into the picture. We all know for sure Biden is now the worst president. So hence the smile on Jimmy's face. Jimmy, God bless you, sir, and your family. Wish you well. I know it's hard to lose people, but kind of when you're 100, no one's surprised you passed away at that point. You had a very long life, and good for you, sir. Got some things to cover. Got kind of a fun little AI-generated thing. I didn't make it. Someone else made it, but it was pretty cool. We're going to play that, too. Got some fun stuff around the flu / whatever. And, we got a lot going on with this... the H1B thing, we got a lot. Let's just get into it. Why try to synopsize all of it as I make up words? Former U.S. President Jimmy Carter, who won the Nobel Peace Prize, has died at 100. Yep. So, yeah, tough day. Chad Pegram put this out. Fox is told Carter likely is going to lie in a state in the Capitol Rotunda 8 days or so after his passing. Fox has been told for a while now that the late President Carter will likely lie in state in the Capitol Rotunda 8 days after his death. Think of today as ground zero or day zero. That likely means he lies in state in the Capitol Rotunda beginning on January 6th or so. Most presidents lie in a state for a few days. 34 persons have lain in state in the Rotunda. A total of 12 presidents have lied in the state. I had to actually look up the difference between laid and lied and whatever. It's not even worth it, but yeah, both past participles of two slightly different words, lie and lay, all said. The first president to lie in state was Abraham Lincoln. When someone lies in state, 8 persons have lain in honor. The last person to lie in state was the late Senate Majority Leader Harry Reid on January 2022. The last president to lie was whoever. Chad, I just want to say, it bugs the shit out of me how you go back and forth between lay, lie. I don't know if you just don't want to use the same term over and over or what, but it's just, anyway, whatever. To each his own, or to your prerogative, whatever, didn't work, but I was going to try anyways. Why give up? Jimmy Carter's state funeral is going to be held on January 9th at Washington's National Cathedral. Now, a lot of Democrats seem to be, I don't know how true it is, frankly. I've seen some stories, or saw a story, and they seem to be excited that this is going to mess with Trump's inauguration. Now, one, there's a lot of crazy nuts jobs on our side of the fence that are like, yeah, because it's going to be on the 6th, and then because of that, and the president, and then they're not going to have to do the vote tally. No, that's not going to happen. It's fucking stupid. No. Okay? Anybody saying stupid shit like that is, well, it's just stupid shit. I don't want to call them stupid. They're just saying stupid stuff. But they are talking about the half flags, flags at half mast, and that could be a problem, I guess, maybe. I don't know. Again, I thought about it, and I'm like, I don't know if I'd care. If I was coming into office and all the flags were at half mast, would I care? I mean, someone died. Like, would that bug me? I just got sworn in as the president. Yay, half flag, half mast. Yay. Okay, cool. It'll be done at the end of the month. Like, I don't know. So there's some people that are making it sound like that the Democrats, we screwed it up for him. It's like, I don't see it that way. I don't know, whatever. Maybe I'm missing something. Please correct me, those of you that will. President Jimmy Carter is dead at 100 years of age. This is Donald Trump truthing. While I strongly disagreed with him philosophically and politically, I also realized that he truly loved and respected our country and all it stands for. He worked hard to make America a better place, and for that, I give him my highest respect. He was truly a good man and, of course, will be greatly missed. He was also very consequential, far more than most presidents, and after he left the Oval Office, warmest condolences from Melania and I to his wonderful family. So it was beautiful of Trump to say. Now, getting into some of this HB1 stuff and just some of the crazy that's going on, this debt ceiling, there's a lot of weird stuff going on. The economy's in a tough place right now, and of course I'm going to talk about gold at some point, but that's not all of it. So Donald Trump's talking about this. We are the party of common sense, a primary reason that we won in a landslide the magnificent and historic presidential election of 2024. All 7 swing states, 312 electoral college votes, and the popular vote by millions of voters, despite large-scale voter fraud taking place in numerous states, including California, where votes are ridiculously still being counted or under review. All won with ease, calm, and professionalism. Republicans are being praised for having run a legendary campaign. Democrats are being excoriated, there we go, for their efforts, having wasted $2.5 billion, much of it unaccounted for, with some being used to illegally buy endorsements. $11 million went to Beyonce, who never even sang a song, $2 million to Oprah for doing next to nothing, and even $500,000 to Reverend Al, a professional con man and instigator, who agreed to interview their star-spangled candidates, Kamala and Joe. We ran a flawless campaign, having spent far less with lots of money left over. They ran a very expensive sinking ship, embracing DOJ and FBI weaponization against their political opponent, me. But it didn't work. It was a disaster. Let's not blow this great opportunity which we have been given. The American people need immediate relief from all of the destructive policies of the last administration. Speaker Mike Johnson is a good, hard-working, religious man. He will do the right thing, and we will continue to win. Mike has my complete and total endorsement. MAGA, which is awesome. Trump continued with another truth. The extension of the debt ceiling by a previous Speaker of the House, a good man and a friend of mine, from this past September of the Biden administration to June of the Trump administration will go down as one of the dumbest political decisions made in years. There was no reason to do it, nothing was gained, and we got nothing for it. A major reason why that speakership was lost. It was Biden's problem, not ours. Now it's become ours. I call it 1929 because the Democrats don't care what our country may be forced into. In fact, they would prefer depression as long as it hurt the Republican Party. The Democrats must be forced to take a vote on this treacherous issue now, during the Biden administration, and not in June. They should be blamed for this potential disaster, not the Republicans. I don't know how they're going to get that up for vote beforehand. It's a great idea. I also think Trump is playing 5G chess here. I think he's absolutely playing 5G chess with these guys. And I don't think most people on the left even realize it. And they're gonna basically go, no, we're not voting for this. Screw you. It's Trump's problem. And that's going to be great because Trump's actually going to make this something that he can win with. And that's what's going to be kind of cool about it. So it will be impressive to see how that kind of plays out in the big picture. We'll see when we get there. Elon Musk has chimed in on Speaker Johnson. He also feels the same way. He gives his full support as well. So we've got both Trump and Musk kind of following suit. Matt Gaetz also chimed in. Trump endorsing Johnson is art of the deal level of practicality. We could never have held up McCarthy for 2 years ago for concessions if Trump's certification hung in the balance. Now it does. We were able to hold up McCarthy because Republican voters weren't all that eager to see us getting back to being Biden's bitch, which Kevin ultimately did anyways. The resistance to Speaker Johnson is now futile. Let's work to make him the best version of himself, which was more like the 2023 vintage of Mike. And that's the thing. If we somehow lose the Speaker of the House and it's no longer Mike, we're not going to be able to get anybody in office. Just understand that. For any of you guys, for any of the people out there right now that are like, we just screw Johnson, we got to get rid of him. All right, you're basically screwing us. I just want you to know that because none of the confirmations will happen. None of the confirmations will happen if we don't have a speaker. And the Democrats already said they ain't going to help us again. So if we get rid of Johnson, there's nobody really that's strong enough to pull this off. I mean, they tried to get Jim Jordan in the first time. It didn't. He didn't even come close to enough votes. So let's try to support the people that we're supposed to support right now. Let's trust that we've gotten this far. Let's at least get Trump into office before we start questioning everything he does. I'm quite sure this is going to be the other thing. The same people that were pissed off about the HBM1 visas are going to be the same people that'll be pissed off about letting Johnson be Speaker of the House. You watch. Look to see who's pissed off about Speaker Johnson in the House, and you're going to see a lot of bad MAGA people is my guess. That's what I'm going to call it. I don't know. We'll see. So final countdown to collapse. I just want to read this first couple paragraphs here because it's 100% on the money. And this is the thing. Like, nobody can say it. Nobody knows for sure, but everybody's seeing it. Everybody. And I don't think Trump's here to fix this. Trump's here to fix it after it breaks and bankrupt the corporation, likely, don't know for sure, bankrupt the corporation and move us into new sound money, new sound policies, new sound America. So the growing mountain of debt has reached a level that is unsustainable, as a whopping $7.6 trillion in interest-bearing U.S. public debt will be maturing in 2025. That number represents 31% of all outstanding U.S. government debt, which will most certainly add upward pressure on rates. Even as the Federal Reserve lowers rates, the market is setting its own pricing. As borrowing costs rise, the debt market is sending a clear signal that there is an obvious loss of confidence in the Treasury's ability to find enough buyers for the surge of fresh debts. While the hedge funds and financial elites are attempting to control the market dynamics, the economic indicators, combined with the overwhelming debt burden and continued government spending, are leading us into what could be the greatest financial crisis our country has ever known. With the exception of a handful of money managers who I consider to be the perpetual cheerleaders for higher stock prices, most investors have a sense that something is about to break. They may not speak about it openly for fear that their concern of a market crash may trigger the inevitable. However, as the cracks in the system become more obvious, the level of fear will continue to grow to the point when investors eventually hit the panic button. We are getting close. Very close. It's another brilliant person that's kind of pointing this out. Folks, this is a lot of what's happening right now. The 401k IRA system is not a good system for your retirement. You spent all these years pumping money into it, and that's great. It's been doing you well. It's at a point now where just literally at one point overnight, it could collapse. It could crash. You could lose, we don't know. Could only be 15, 20%. It could be 60, 70%. We don't know. It's probably not going to be the worst, and it's probably not going to be the best. Probably going to be somewhere in the middle. What's that? 40, 50% maybe of your value, of your retirement. Now, here's the funny part of that, if you will, if I'm allowed to call it funny. Precious metals, while this crash in the stock market is happening, will actually be rising in prices. Precious metals will. So see, if you get out of their system, which is tied into stocks, tied into cash, and you transfer, tax-free and penalty-free, by the way, tax-free, penalty-free, you move it sideways into a precious metals IRA. You can continue to donate to it if you'd like. You can draw from it if you'd like. But you transfer out of their system into something that protects your wealth. Because we're about to go through a friggin' hiccup. Don't know when exactly, don't know where exactly. And Goldco, great company, I love them. They don't believe any of the crazy crap I talk about. They're not supposed to. They're legally supposed to help you do what you need to do, and that's getting out of their system tax-free, penalty-free. Now, one of the awesome things that they're offering up is 10%, up to 10% of the face value of your 401k or your IRA, depending on which, up to 10%. So if you've got a $50,000 policy or $50,000 in IRA or 401k savings right now, up to 10% of that would be, what, $5,000? $5,000 of free silver, up to $5,000 of free silver. If you've got $100,000, that's up to $10,000 in free silver. If you've got $1 million, that's up to $100,000 in free silver. Your 401k and IRA, not a lot you can do about it, and God hope, fingers crossed, things don't happen. But if you move into precious metals, you're not going to be sweating it at all. Not at all. In fact, you're going to be enjoying the fact that as the dollar loses value, your gold prices are going up. As things get a little more unstable, the prices of gold and silver are going up. Go to drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. Get out of their system. Their system is not doing well. Also, 4 data points. That's all you're going to need. You either put them in here. You don't have to, actually. I've come to find out. You can actually just put them here like the normal place, right? You go to drslikesgold.com. This is where you're going to land. Here's where up to 10% of your silver, all right? Free shipping and all sorts of good stuff with it. It's also, they got the highest price buyback guarantee, which is also super cool when it comes to transferring that back into dollars if you need to. But really, you kind of want to keep it parked and precious until we get through all this. All said, same 4 data points. And if you qualify, if you actually have a qualifying 401k or IRA, you're going to get that free half-ounce silver Ronald Reagan collector's coin. That's this thing right here. You'll get it no matter what. Wherever you put the data, if you qualify, they'll send you that coin also, just as a cool little gift. It's like, I don't know, $17, $18 is what that thing's worth now. It's only going up in value, frankly. Go to drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. Waiting's probably not a good idea. Trump's going to be taking office soon. A lot of mistakes are being made by many of the people in government now. Waiting is definitely not an option. Goldco can make it happen about as quick as it possibly can. They did a lot of E-Verify when I did the stuff with them that I did with them, so they can make it extraordinarily fast. Get all your ducks in a row. Get with the right group, the 5-star group. They're going to help move you through this, and you're also going to be helping the channel too. Go to drslikesgold.com, drslikesgold.com. Get out of that system before they get out of you, and they will. Biden announced nearly $2.5 billion in security assistance for Ukraine. Essentially, he's saying this is the end of what he has left available to give to them. So he is definitely scraping the bottom of the barrel, and he's like, we got to have some more stuff in here for them. So I don't know, we're probably throwing some 22 rounds over there or something crazy. They're actually supposedly some decent weapons we're sending. And I also just want to remind you guys that we don't have enough weapons ourselves to fight a war. They say if we went to war with either Russia or China, God forbid both, we'd literally run out of ammo in about a week. Literally. No, I'm not messing with you at all. Like literally a week. Done. We'd be toast. We'd be toast. Because China and Russia have been building weapons like mad for a long time. We've been giving them away like mad for a long time. So we kind of need to be smart. I mean, obviously, we got nuclear war we can always threaten. There's no way we can't get some of those to land, that's for sure. But we've got a lot of hypersonics that we don't seem to be able to stop either. So this is not good. Of course, it's Biden's one of his last fell swoops that he's trying to do to destroy this country. What a pile of shit, man. I tell you, this guy's horrible. Whatever the case is, this was actually pretty telling. And the truth is coming out, and we're starting to find out how truly vindictive and horrible Biden really is.
Federal prison before the Supreme Court could have come down with the immunity ruling that they did in June. That's Biden's argument, that he would have been able to win this election, right? Which is insane and anti-American.
Reportedly complaining enough people behind the scenes that this is now leaking out to the Washington Post. His one, aside from getting out of the race, his one biggest regret is having an attorney general who didn't prosecute his opponent fast enough and who did prosecute his criminal son. And he's saying it openly. Right. So the game is sort of over at this point, right? And so he's dishing out his pardons and grousing on his way out the door. And I think there's a reason why his approval ratings are absolutely in the toilet right now. He has very much earned them.
And what does Joe Biden do when he leaves office on January 20th, right? I mean, the Democratic Party is looking forward to him leaving.
Well, he can finally take a break and go to the beach.
He can finally take a vacation, maybe. But what a legacy there.
Yeah.
I hope he leaves early like Trump did. I think that would be so cool. I'm going to do it like what Trump did. That's just what we're going to do from here on out. We're never going to actually welcome in the next president. That's fine. That'll be fine. We'll let him go. Let him go. Just wave at him on the way out the door. Some fun information because, we trust the politicians in office. So the top 5 politicians, stock traders, yes, Nancy Pelosi, of course, made the top of the list. I think technically a lot of it's her husband doing it, but she's giving the advice. But Nancy Pelosi, she made $38.6 million. She's up this year. Mitt Romney's up $20.9 million. Mark Warner up $14 million. Pete Ricketts up $13 million. And Mitch McConnell up $8.1 million. Mitch, you're an idiot. Why don't you do money with Nancy? You're stupid. Dude, you're stupid. Anyway, whatever the case is, yeah, this is the 5 worst politicians right there, right? Wouldn't you agree? That's pretty much them. Elon Musk calls for major reform of the broken H-1B visa program, proposes to make it more expensive to hire overseas than domestically. So he did finally kind of like, all right, hang on, let me just clarify some things. We'll get there in a sec. We talked about this on my community show on Saturday, which was a lot of fun, by the way, if you want to be a part of that, though it's kind of early to be promoting it. It is literally the 4th Saturday of every month at 1 p.m. Pacific time, 4 p.m. Central. We do a live 1-hour show. It's a lot of fun, actually. It's on my channel. Some of you guys probably have seen it. And this one I streamed on all of my platforms, which was very cool. It actually got a surprising number of views on some of the other platforms that I had, so that was a lot of fun. But one of the things we kind of talked about was how this seems to be a weird distraction. Right, so many of us have been concerned about illegal immigration and all those types of things, yet there's only total, as of September 30th, 2019, the U.S. Citizenship and Immigration Services estimated that approximately 583,420 individuals were authorized to work in the United States under the H-1B visa. Since 2019, okay, that's 5 years, 583. 500,000 people have legally used this form to be able to work in this country. They didn't become citizens, by the way. This is a visa program. It means you're allowed to come here for a period of time. I've had numerous friends that were Indian, and when their visas ran out, and if they couldn't get them redone while they were here, which happens frequently, they end up having to go back to India for like a month and then come back, which sucks, especially when they've got to keep working from over there because like the time difference is gnarly. So we're stressing about 583,000 legal visa owners. They're not citizens. And almost none of these people want to stay here permanently. That's not why they're here. Yet they've got us focused on that. Not the how many millions came across in the last 5 years? How many millions of illegal, non-visa having immigrants came into this country? Some that weren't bringing any skills, some that were criminals, some that were known gangbangers, some were, right? Like, yet they've got us focused on this. Again, there's some very interesting groups, people that I used to respect a lot more, I've lost a lot of respect for. Again, I don't hate people for this, and that's one of the things. You can have differing opinions, but when you start spouting crazy opinions and then you kind of double and triple down on it, you need to sit back and kind of sit on your hands for a second and be like, wait, does this make sense? No, it doesn't. They allow 65,000 plus 20 highly educated, master's degree or better, so 85,000 a year. 85,000 a year. Visas. They can't live here forever. Yet we're freaking out about it. This is one of the craziest things. So anyway, one of my favorite parts, and I'm going to say it again. I'm going to say the F word. Careful, guys. Even though I think I've already said it more than once. But when Elon Musk basically told someone to take a big step back and fuck yourself in the face, oh, I love it. I love Elon Musk. You're such a good guy. Vivek, you're awesome too. Trump, love you. All you guys. Cash Patel, I can't wait to see you guys in action. All said. Robert Sterling's kind of like, you can see where I'm going with this. A casual perusal of the data shows that this isn't a program for the top 0.1% of talent as has been described. This is simply a way to recruit hundreds of thousands of relatively lower wage IT and financial service professionals. Now, I do agree. It's been abused. That is true. We've definitely had a lot of IT people that probably could have been filled with American jobs, but Americans tend to make too much money, so they do. This is true. It's got some problems. 85,000 people only, but it's got some problems. And Musk admits to that. So Robert continues, America needs to be a destination for the world's most elite talent, but the H-1B program isn't the way to do that. I'm going to stop posting for now, but let me know if you have other visualizations that would be helpful. Elon Musk ended up responding to him. Said easily fixed by raising the minimum salary significantly and adding a yearly cost for maintaining the H-1B, making it materially more expensive to hire from overseas than domestically. That's a brilliant idea. I've been very clear that the program is broken and needs major reform. Yes, also very cool. And Robert Sterling was very stoked with that and said, agreed, thank you, and thank you for giving free speech back, and crawled up inside of Musk's orifice. And he's like, oh my God, it's so nice in here. Is this what SpaceX is like? There's probably no echo either, because he's probably got a very clean colon. Though actually you would think that would cause more echoes. Anyways, doesn't matter. But he's confident the changes made in the real Donald Trump administration will make America stronger, and a rising tide lifts all boats. And he's 100% right. So again, we're going to be moving in the proper direction, and I think it's important that we continue to do that. Trump has made another statement talking about a lot of the big stuff that he's going to be doing, signing record investment, hiring, retention, yada, yada, yada. Got about 5+ minutes of Trump. Just another one of his wonderful statements as number 47 is getting very close to taking office and the deep state is panicking.
Joe Biden and the defund the police Democrats have turned our once great cities into cesspools of bloodshed and crime. There's never been anything like it. Here's my plan to restore law and order in our cities and throughout our country, frankly. First, because police forces have been gutted by Democrats' war on police, I will sign a record investment in hiring, retention, and training for police officers nationwide. So important. This bill will also increase vital liability protections for officers because the Democrats want to take those protections away from our police because we want them to do their jobs. and we want them to do their jobs right. You can't take their protections away if you're going to have them do their jobs properly. Second, to qualify for this new funding and all other Justice Department grants, I will insist that local jurisdictions return to proven common sense policing measures, such as stop and frisk. Very simple. You stop them and you frisk them. Strictly enforcing existing gun laws against convicted felons, cracking down on the open use of illegal drugs, and cooperating with ICE to get criminal aliens off our streets and get them out of our country. Third, we will go after the radical Marxist prosecutors who are abolishing cash bail, refusing to charge crimes, and surrendering our cities to violent criminals. They have surrendered like never before. I will direct the DOJ to open civil rights investigations into radical left prosecutors' offices, such as those in Chicago, LA, and San Francisco, to determine whether they have illegally engaged in race-based enforcement of the law. I will also work with Congress to give the victims of their Marxist policies the right to sue local officials for harm and suffering, and it has been great that they have caused. If your small business is pillaged because shoplifting goes unpunished, if you're brutally attacked by a violent felon released without bail or bond, then you will be entitled to massive damages. Fourth, I will order the Department of Justice, or some people call it the Department of Injustice right now, and Homeland Security dismantle every gang, street crew, and drug network in America. Every single one of them will be dismantled. We already know where these turf wars and drug dens are. We know who the people are. And we're going to charge them and charge the culprits with every crime that we can find. We're going to be fair, but we're going to be tough. We also need the death penalty for drug dealers. So important. And I'd add to that human traffickers. Drug dealers and human traffickers, they get the death penalty. Watch it stop, and stop quickly. Fifth, in cities where there has been a complete breakdown of law and order, where the fundamental right of our citizens are being intolerably violated, I will not hesitate to send in federal assets, including the National Guard, until safety is restored. If Nancy Pelosi would have accepted our National Guard or our soldiers, you wouldn't have had January 6th. But she and the mayor of D.C. didn't do that. Sixth, we will end the leftist takeover of school discipline and juvenile justice. Many of these carjackers and criminals are 13, 14, and 15 years old. I will order the Education and Justice Departments to overhaul federal standards on disciplining minors, so when troubled youth are out in control, they're out on the streets and they're going wild, we will stop it. The consequences are swift, certain, and strong, and they will know that. Seventh, I will protect the right of self-defense everywhere it is under siege, and I will sign concealed carry reciprocity. Your Second Amendment does not end at the state line. In addition, I will, of course, fully secure the border, dramatically increase interior enforcement, and wage war on the cartels. We have never had a border so secure as it was just 2 years ago, and now our border is the worst anywhere in the world and possibly of all time. There's never been a country that allowed to happen what's happening in the United States right now, where millions of people are pouring across our borders. They come from mental institutions. They come from the prisons. They're all being let out so they can come into the United States. They're poisoning our country. We will also take back our streets from the homeless, the drug addicted, and the mentally ill. I will discuss those plans in much more detail very soon. That is how I will bring back public safety to America. I want to thank you. We're going to make America great again, and we're going to make America safe again. Thank you.
Yeah, we're going to de-Bidenize, deep state-ize the whole country. I mean, it's just what we've been put through, right? It's insane. Trump team's ordering all intended nominees to stop posting on social media ahead of the Senate confirmations. Kind of an interesting call. It's funny is there the lady that's in charge of this is Susie Wiles. She sent this message out, and I think she's got a little bit of a people are calling her the Ice Maiden. That's kind of her nickname. Whatever the case is, I think she's all sorts of serious about making sure nobody says anything stupid. She says, we love the fact that you guys are all excited about what's coming and all that. Don't say anything stupid. Don't say anything that they can use against you, and they're going to. So it is kind of an important ask of the people that are about to be confirmed by the Senate. Don't give them anything to not confirm you for. Just stop posting. Leave it alone. What are you afraid you're not going to make a couple bucks? You're going into public office. Get over it. It's not an issue of how many TikTokers you got. Shut up. Make sure you do your job and do it right. Catherine Herridge has finally come forward. She's got a cool little interview. You can find her on X. Might be on Truth too, but she's on X. Catherine Herridge has put out an interview she did. It's about 15 minutes long. I'm not going to play it, but she was talking to a CIA person, which, again, former intelligence officer, claims career-ending injuries caused by foreign-directed energy weapons. And so she talks all about this stuff. Leaked Defense Department letter acknowledges injuries and experiences are real. It is a cover-up. It should be terrifying for all Americans. Government is gaslighting people. Now, they are blaming the Russians. I don't know. It might be them. China almost makes more sense, or just the deep state. Likely that it's just intelligence agencies, possibly even our own. Who knows? But they do talk about foreign adversary likely behind the national security officials' Havana syndrome injuries. They talk about high-powered microwave system weapons under attack in Africa, multiple weapons suspected, crippling cognitive and neurological symptoms reported. CIA director privately blames Russia, whatever. 2023 intelligence report betrayal, government gaslighting, $100,000 medical debt. The Labor Department labels traumatic brain injury as a work injury. Cancer, dementia, Parkinson's seem to be tied to this possibly. So again, she covers a lot of good stuff. It's a pretty good interview. I haven't actually listened to it. I'm assuming it's a good interview. They kind of throw the synopsis of what they cover, which made it sound good to me. Biden's weaponized J6 prosecutor has reportedly resigned. This guy's just a giant pile of trash. Sources tell me the U.S. Attorney General, this is Julie Kelly put this out, U.S. Attorney General Matthew Graves has resigned. Don't go too far, buddy. One of the things that's kind of funny, Graves targeted anyone near the Capitol, but he'd frequently tried to make it clear that the DOJ is now wasn't going after people because of their views. It was going after people because of what they did, not their thoughts, but their actions. Anywho, U.S. Attorney Matthew Graves making it clear that the DOJ is now going to target Americans who were around the Capitol on January 6th, but did not enter the building, just near it, within the little confines where they rolled up the fence. Remember the guy that was rolling up the fence? So nobody would know that you shouldn't walk past that? Yeah, they're going to go after all those people too. Sure, nobody was working with the feds there. Get out of here.
And what happened inside of the building? An important note when it comes to our prosecutions about those who remained outside the building. We have used our prosecutorial discretion to primarily focus on those who entered the building or those who engaged in violent or corrupt conduct on Capitol grounds. But if a person knowingly entered the restricted area without authorization, they had already committed a federal crime. Make no mistake, thousands of people occupied an area that they were not authorized to be present in the first place.
What about the 4 FBI agents or 4 federal agents that were inside the Capitol? You didn't bust them. Why is that? How come none of the federal agents that were there, of the 26, none of them got busted? Why is that, Mr. Graves? Just curious, asking for a friend. U.S. Attorney Matthew Graves says the J6 prosecution is focused on holding people accountable for violent and destructive conduct. Right. Julie Kelly reminding us Graves' charging and sentencing documents routinely mention a J6 defendant's views on 2020 election and social media posts critical of Democrats as incriminating evidence against them. Yeah, this is going to change, and these guys, they're going to have a potentially huge-ass lawsuit. That'll be fun for them. AI is a funny thing. Back in the day, we used to have to do this stuff on our own. We had to be creative, but AI is certainly making it a lot more possible. This is a fun little spin on the song Wrecking Ball, and they did a reasonably good job on it, so I thought I'd play it for you guys. Though AI has got a long way to go, but it's still pretty cool. Check.
They keep him down. They use the courts, tried every trick, but he's still coming round. They schemed, they fought to make him fall, but all their plans fell flat. just walked away. We'll always fight through. We can't fake a smile, the stakes are high. We'll always want truth. He's coming like a wrecking ball. He's never hit so hard before. Now he's gonna build the wall, and he's gonna make you see. Yeah, you're gonna see. Now Elon's here to cut the cost. The budget's coming down, and Robert's cleaning FDA while the CDC's unwound. Don't you ever think we just walk away. We'll always fight through. We can't fake a smile, the stakes are high. We'll always want truth. He's coming like a wreck and raising terrorists high. Yeah, we're gonna fly. He never meant to start a fight. He just wanted us to win. Instead of going down, we'll rise and bring back pride within. Don't you ever say we just walked away. We'll always fight the wall and bring us liberty. Yeah, you're gonna see. Yeah, we set him free.
I enjoyed it. Appeals court upholds the verdict, finding Trump liable for sexually abusing E. Jean Carroll. This is just insanity. This is kind of a big hit against him. The U.S. Court of Appeals for the Second Circuit. It was a smaller panel. He's going to try to push this up to the full panel. It's just heavily illegal. I just can't believe it. Eventually, it's probably going to have to go up to the Supreme Court. This is just stupid. It's absolute stupid. It's another New York Second Circuit that's doing this. So these guys are looking out for their own. That's for sure. Whatever. We'll get there. Yeah. So anyway, there's been a number of talks around this concept. One, we shouldn't have to have like regular civilian people running around protecting the subways. Hochul should be able to take care of it with the National Guard, the police, and everything else. But she's lost total control of her city. So now they're doing something that Obama wanted to start, which was citizens patrolling, which is kind of weird. Needless to say, at least somebody's trying to help, I guess.
Well, in our day and night patrols, three-person patrols, we're all together. We're walking through the cars, which is something the police no longer do. Notice there are no mental health workers, there are no crisis intervention. They have all these fancy names. I never see them. And we spend millions of dollars on my day. Our job is, A, do a wellness check on a homeless person. If they're homeless or emotionally disturbed, see if they're okay. If all of a sudden we walk into a situation where there's an episode, which oftentimes happens, we have to calm it down. A lot of times, these homeless and emotionally disturbed persons, they know of the guardian angels. We can have a calming effect. We can also bring the situation to the attention of cops on the platform. If there are cops, you're going to probably see them on the platform. Generally, that's why we always stick our heads out at the station, and we always check to the north, to the south. If there are any police officers, we would hold the door open, tell the conductor, we need the police presence here. Citizens won't do that because, unfortunately, the Daniel Penny effect has frozen them. They're not going to get involved. I've seen grown men who normally might have gotten involved. They're just not getting involved any longer. We train. This is what we do. We know how to do it. And we'll coordinate it once we get on the train with the conductor, who obviously has more freedom than the motorman, but we'll obviously make sure that that train is stopped and that the police respond and that we keep order in the car so that nobody gets hurt, including the emotionally disturbed person or the homeless person.
Is he actually from New York? He didn't say one F word, I don't think. I have a hard time believing. I mean, he sounds similar to a New Yorker. South Korean authorities seek warrant to detain impeached President Yoon. They're actually going to go after him for criminal charges now. I don't know what the hell's going on. I mean, I don't want to pretend either. And then, of course, had that horrible plane crash and almost another. We're going to talk about that in a second. Thank God this one didn't crash. But South Korean law enforcement officials request a court warrant on Monday to detain impeached President Yoon Suk-yeol as they investigate whether his short-lived martial law decree on December 3rd amounted to a rebellion. It sounds so much like what they're doing here to Trump, or what they were doing to Trump. So again, I don't know if this dude's good or bad, but what they're doing to him seems very strange. And even my suspicion when he was doing it was that he was trying to prevent them from doing something else. There was a dude driving in that was literally going to he was going to be the next ruler. So they were in the middle of a coup. I think Yoon Suk-yeol actually stopped the coup, but they're going after him hard. They wanted this coup badly, and he didn't give it to them. Now they've got to do it through an election or something. It was a strange power grab that they were trying to do. Whatever the case was, it didn't seem to work out well. Elon Musk's Starlink signs a major deal with Ukraine. It's worked out with this company, Vion, and they did a bid, and they're going to do enhanced satellite connectivity to Ukraine utilizing these Starlink satellites. Apparently, this is going to be the first country to be utilizing this technology, or to at least get to utilize this technology before most everyone else. So kind of cool, I guess, if you're in Ukraine and a lot of your stuff don't work anymore because of war. So that's a plus. That's a big plus. Apparently, Russia's not real satisfied with Trump's proposals to end Ukraine war. This is coming from Lavrov, but I think a lot of it's just talking. I don't think any real stuff has come from Trump's side yet. Maybe some of this is just hearsay. Maybe this is just him talking tough. Whatever the case is, I think when Trump finally gets in office, can finally do things, I think we're going to start to see discussions being had. Our relationship with Russia is definitely going to start to improve, and I assume the war between Russia and Ukraine will start to come to an end. How quickly, how fast, I don't know. Trump says he's going to end it day one. We'll see if it's that quick. But, Sergei Lavrov is kind of making it sound like, publicly anyways, that he's not too sure that Trump's plan's going to necessarily work. Now, something to keep in mind. I got a couple very interesting things here about the flu. About COVID, about H1N1, about all this nonsense. This is obvious something they're doing. They're doing this to us. They've been doing this to us. They keep weaponizing these things that never would have happened naturally. And they keep acting like, well, we had to before someone else did it. It's like, well, you guys are the ones that keep doing it before anybody else, and then you get everybody sick with it. It's almost like you guys are the ones that we need to stop. Not necessarily Russia or China, but actually Fauci and the likes. Whatever the case is, we're going to start here because this was actually a pretty fun little, I think, reasonably accurate. I don't know, a couple of these I want to test, but I think it was reasonably accurate. Check this out.
So today we're going to hit on the root cause of illnesses, and this is really important. They always tell you viruses are jumping all over, which is a bunch of hodgepodge. But first and foremost, you have herpes, which is too much friction, which is lack of collagen, open wounds. Next, you have the flu. Whenever you have the flu, they tell you what? Drink a lot of salt, have some soup, because you have a electrical salt imbalance. Next, we move to the pandemic, 2020. Remember that whole thing? Radiation poisoning, loss of smell, loss of taste, loss of hair, nausea, symptoms of radio wave sickness. Then somebody says, I have extended CV-19, same exact symptoms. You're holding that phone which has 5G, or you have 5G in your home, and there's new towers that have been placed all over, same exact thing. Next we move to rabies. You know the things they're putting into all the dogs when they inject into that? That one's actually never been proven to exist, but they poison the dogs anyways. Next we go into HIV, which the root cause was AZT. It was giving all the symptoms of HIV, so people were going and getting more AZT. And then last but not least, we moved to polio. Polio was caused by DDT. And then they sold people one of these again. So when it comes to it, none of these viruses have been proven to exist. There's a great book called The Contagion Myth by Dr. Tom Cowan. There's also Dissolving Illusions and The End of COVID with Alex Zeck.
Yeah, pretty good stuff. So wanted to start there, and then we get to this one here, because this one is, this is crazier. I'm going to start with the one on the right. I feel like it's the correct one to start with, even though they're done in a different order. Fauci created these weaponized drugs. But let's get to what they now want to do with these weaponized drugs. And this is the same lady that said they should lock all of us up, that any of us that were running around unvaccinated, like we were like drunk driving or something. She's pretty messed up, and she's even Asian. I'm saying that. She's not pretty because she's so ugly inside. It's very unfortunate. Needless to say, let's go ahead and listen to her craziness, and then we'll listen to this man's brilliance, and hopefully it'll make more sense of the craziness.
Bird flu. Is this report out of Louisiana worrisome? And if so, why?
Well, it's one more sign that the drumbeat of bird flu coming closer to humans is becoming a major threat. So we've already seen this year that there have been a number of mammalian species close to humans that now have bird flu outbreaks. We have outbreaks in poultry in all 50 states. 16 states have outbreaks in cattle. In California, in the last 30 days, there have been more than 300 herds that tested positive. And now we have 66 cases of bird flu in humans. And this is almost certainly a significant undercount because we have not been doing nearly enough testing, so we really don't know the extent of bird flu that's out there in humans. But this particular case, it's someone who is severely ill, but not only that, researchers have isolated the virus in this individual who is sick in Louisiana, and they found that this particular strain of the virus appears to have acquired mutations that make it more likely to bind to airway receptors. Bird flu has been around for a long time.
About 30 years.
Yeah, exactly. But it hasn't been a major issue in humans because while it spreads among birds, it hasn't really spread among mammals. But now there is this mutation. And there's another concern now, major too, which is that we're in flu season. And it's possible that a single person could have bird flu and seasonal flu at the same time.
Something called reassortment.
That's right.
Where things change because of one illness becoming another illness through reassortment of a mutated virus.
That's right. And so the viruses could exchange genes. You could develop a new hybrid virus. And if you now have a virus that's more contagious and causes more severe disease, that's when it becomes a major threat to humankind.
What should be?
So it's gotten better at crossing species barriers or boundaries. It's gotten better at that. And that's what she's talking about. That's all the stuff she's talking about. Now, again, let's go back to the fact she's saying we need more testing because the only way to get the numbers up higher is to test more because we got fake tests and we're going to constantly make more numbers show. Just let us test more stuff. We'll guarantee we'll give you the numbers. It's totally what this is. They are desperately trying to start a pandemic. They might succeed. There's definitely a gnarly flu going around, and that is their pandemic. Whether or not they're able to get traction, I don't think they will because we're not going to let them, and we also have a lot of ways to treat this. But yes, this thing definitely binds to your upper respiratory. That is for sure. But let's listen to what Fauci has been directly involved with, and then coupling that with what you just heard from the devil lady. Yeah, it's not good.
The threat of bird flu, lab-generated bird flu, has existed since the study that Anthony Fauci conducted, funded with Ron Fouchier and Karaoka for 10 years. And one of the most frightening things that concerns me, and I believe is absolutely urgent right now, is that for the last 6 months, we all have seen reports about bird flu coming over naturally from cow milk, from a cat. There was a farm worker who got it. People have feared a bird flu coming out of the lab for 10 years. The wet market proved that you got to be a little bit sharper at a story of it coming from nature. And for 6 months now, we've seen story after story, isolated crossover. And it's not just from one source. It's coming from milk. It's coming from a cat, you know? To me, this is them sharpening the tool because it is absolutely inevitable that a bird flu will cross over into humans and it won't be natural. I mean, the debate started in like 2002 that we should not be directing all of our research dollars into this one narrow field of, quote, pandemic preparedness. And yet Fauci did and amassed so much influence and power in that system that he was able to shut down every critic. And there were a lot of close calls, and there were a lot of red flags, after anthrax and before Ebola. Fauci supported the engineering of avian flu in 2011 to make it airborne. Bird flu is not naturally airborne. It takes a while to transfer from its host, birds to humans. It happens with pigs. It happens with other intermediate species. And a scientist supported by Anthony Fauci used gain-of-function techniques in order to hone the virus to be airborne in humans. So this was celebrated by Fauci as a victory of science. There was a big debate on whether the results of this study should even be published. They were published. And Fauci and Francis Collins, who was also the NIH director at the time of the pandemic and very much part of the whole problem that we faced, they wrote an op-ed in the Washington Post and said that this was a flu risk worth taking, that doing this dangerous research could cause a pandemic, but that it was a risk worth taking because we would be prepared for that pandemic.
Prepared with vaccine.
Yeah. If you build it, they will come. Or in the case of them, if you build it, we will get them sick. They've made it that way. This is exactly what they've been trying to do to us. Folks, the best thing I can offer you is this. One, I've told you, ivers.com. Go to that place. Spell out the whole word, .com. That's where I bought mine. That's what I use. This is another great way to go. You actually have a doctor's note, if you will. And on top of that, there's a number of medications in this particular kit. I'll say when I was going through my version of it, there was one point where I coughed so hard, I was literally worried about being able to breathe. And this budesonide thing, this generic Pulmicort, I probably would have popped that thing and pulled the pin on it. I don't know how it actually works, but I would have gone ahead and probably used it. I was, it took me a bit to get my breathing back, and I was nervous. I was very nervous. I'm like, oh, this is how people end up on respirators. So this is one of those things you got to be careful too. This particular flu that's going around, it was really dry in the chest, and in fact, the Ivers helped kind of kill the fever and the virus, I think, but it still left that cough, that dry cough. Mucinex has been super helpful for me. Mucinex has helped me break it apart. So that was one thing. I went down and got some regular, normal drugs and started taking them, and that actually has made an enormous difference breaking up the chest. So my cough is actually getting rid of stuff now, and I am getting better. I've actually managed to output some nasties, and I'm grateful every single time. So this is one of the reasons why this kit, this contagion kit, is incredible. You get 25 tablets of ivermectin. I think I honestly took 6 tablets during the whole 2-3 days. Like, I didn't take that many. I know there's a lot of people that like to take this stuff every day. I don't like that. I don't like taking medicine every day just to take it. But they also have HCQ, hydroxychloroquine. They got 20 tablets of that as well. Would have been smart. I think I still had some of those. I just didn't take any. They've got the generic Z-Pack. You got 12 tablets of that. That would have been helpful. Could have used it. Generic Tamiflu. That's also very helpful. It's an antiviral medication as well. You got 10 tablets of that. And then you've got the budesonide, which is asthma medication as well as just opens up your upper respiratory. It's a great way to be able to breathe again. You get 5 vials of that and the nebulizer. This is an awesome kit. This will definitely save your life. It says it's for one person. I'll be honest, you easily get 2 people buying this, but I'm not a doctor and I do not play one on TV. That said, this kit is awesome. Go to twc.health/OTF. That's twc.health/OTF. They've also got some great supplement lines that are going on in there. The spike support formula is very tied into trying to get rid of the spikes that are floating around. Yeah, that's a good thing to do. They've got some great naturals for kids. You want to make sure to keep their immune systems up and running. But these med kits are incredible, and they've got a bunch of them. They've got a medical kit, they've got emergency kits, they've got travel kits, first aid kits, radiation emergency kit, which, I don't know, if you live close to a power station, maybe. I've never actually thought of getting a radiation kit, but it's good to go. Field emergency kit. They've got a lot of really, really strong stuff. They've also got what's called a med replenishment kit, which means if you order one of these and you get it through a prescription and everything, the whole 9 yards, there's Dr. Penske, Dr. Drew Penske, and McCullough are 2 of the doctors and another gentleman. They've put these all together, so you're literally getting like a prescription, and then they send it to you. There's virtual care you can do. There's a whole lot of really cool memberships they've got. This is a bitchin' company. The Wellness Company is very awesome and is a good way to not have to go into the doctor's office and to basically get some stuff that's going to protect you as we go through this pandemic season. Yeah, merry pandemic season. Go to twc.health/OTF. That's twc.health/OTF. Take matters into your own hands, folks, because frankly, they don't want you to make it through this. We know that. We know that for sure. So try to be strong and make sure you watch out for yourself. Great products, though. AT&T and Verizon apparently had been or were targeted by Salt Typhoon cyber espionage, but apparently they've hardened their networks, so we're supposed to feel safe now, I guess. That's cool. That's good news. Another South Korean flight suffers landing gear issue. Now, again, it's another Boeing, but it's oddly the same airline, Jeju Air. Now, I want to point something out. Boeing does not maintain aircraft once an airline buys it. Once an airline buys an aircraft, it does maintenance. The airline does, not Boeing, and you must do maintenance. Airplanes are extremely expensive to fly. Every hour you fly them requires like 2 hours of maintenance or some crazy thing. They are extraordinarily expensive to operate. And oftentimes one of the places that people cut corners is maintenance. Whatever the case is, we've had 2 Jeju Airs that had landing gear issues. One of them went skidding down a runway and exploded, killing all but 2 people in the aircraft. This one had landing gear problems they noticed right after takeoff. They were able to circle around or I think go into another airport, one of the two, and were fortunately able to land or at least able to get the landing gear out manually. I don't even know exactly what the problem was, but they were able to land. They were trying to switch people off the aircraft onto another Jeju Air, and many of the passengers are like, no, thank you. And that's really where the problem lies. Again, Boeing's made all sorts of mistakes, so I'm not going to say that they're not somehow responsible, but this is a maintenance problem, I'm almost sure. And so very sad that that we've got aircraft like this that are, just not being properly maintained. And literally, it is a reasonably new one, though. It was a 737-800. I think they're up to the 900, maybe further now. I'm not sure what the highest one is. And God, first off, just kudos on this dude for being able to land on his engines. That's not easy. I mean, it's well done. But, that didn't help them at all. So very sad. Almost could have been significantly worse. NASA's on high alert over a massive, quote, dent anomaly in the Earth's magnetic field. This is an actually very famous area. It is between South America and Southwest Africa. And this low magnetic intensity, they call it the South Atlantic anomaly. And this is this weird place. Now, first off, we've seen some of the hollowed earth, if you will, where they can show like what making the magnetic field and how there's some funky shapes to the core parts of the planet. It's not just this perfect sphere. And so some of those funny shapes, I think, is what's causing some of this anomaly. But when spacecraft have to fly through it, they have to turn off a lot of equipment because so much cosmic noise, like protons and stuff like that, goes shooting through them that they actually can cause and have caused significant damage. So they have to shut off a lot of serious equipment to make sure that they don't have any problems. Supposedly, this is getting worse. It's kind of a concern that many are having. And we also have been talking about how the Earth's magnetic field is weakening and changing as well. This likely is tying into that to some degree as well. So this is, just another example of some of the stuff that's actually a problem behind the scenes, not just what's happening in our government. But all said, we've got a lot to be concerned about. 5 men have now been charged in connection to Liam Payne's hotel balcony death in Argentina. I guess their 31-year-old pal, Roger Norse's. He was among those slapped with manslaughter charges over the weekend. And we also had, Esteban Grassi, a receptionist at the Casa Sur Palermo Hotel, and Gilda Martin, the hotel's head of security, were also hit with manslaughter raps, according to the source. Meanwhile, local waiter Brian Paves and Casa Sur's employee Ezequiel Payarra have been charged with allegedly supplying the One Direction crooner with drugs on multiple occasions. So, they're got a summons for all these people to show up. I'm assuming most of them have gone into hiding or disappeared. But it's been a while since we've talked about Liam Payne's death. Dude fell off the balcony or whatever and died. Pretty sad. He was supposedly pretty drugged up at the time as well. So not good at all. A lot happening, folks. Let's keep moving forward, keep strong, and also keep understanding they're not done trying to shut down things. We're not out of the woods, folks. Not by a long shot. Be prepared. Keep your head on the swivel. Don't relax. We're not there yet. Where we go one, we go all. It's On the Fringe with Dan Radio Style.